Hello and welcome back. You know the programs and movies like Sons of Anarchy, Punisher, and John Wick. Indeed, we have very similar case to John Wick in Japan. So today I would like to discuss Japanese John Wick case in this minute lecture and like to provide you with the clear values from that story. My name is Dr. Samurai. I am a professor specialized in international and social pathology, also an active prison counselor. I understand both Western perspective and Eastern perspective, being a Japanese who was educated in the United States. And also, in addition to being the prison counselor, I have been actively exchanging communications with the ultimate prison friends in the U.S. Prison system. So I am positive that I can explain things from much deeper down than most of the experts. So now let's get into today's topic. His name was Mr. Koizumi. When he was 12 years old, at 6th grade in elementary school, his dog was killed at the animal shelter against the promise that they're not gonna kill him. Over 40 years after, he took a revenge for having his dog killed by the animal shelter. Because of this 40 years moratorium, some people rumored that this could be some kind of conspiracy because at the time Ministry of Health was under very severe criticism for losing great part of 401k money by investing it in a wrong way. So because of that, it was understandable that some people thought some powerful person paid Mr. Koizumi to kill two heads of Ministry of Health. But it was not the case. The reason I paid attention to this case was because on the TV news, he never showed even a bit of shame. He was like honorable soldier or something. Never hid his face. And when I went to his trial, even against the judge's order, he kept on speaking at the end of the trial that even after you kill me, I'll be back and kill more and more officials who are in charge of animal shelters that have been killing animals. Because his voice was so loud, it felt like it could burst out this whole courtroom. So I went to see him in jail. His detailed story was like this. At the time, he and his younger sister went out walking with Chiro, dog's name. Chiro means like whitey, mixed breed. And his sister was holding a leash but accidentally released it, ran away, and later on, Mr. Koizumi found out he is now at the animal shelter. He was caught by animal shelter staff. But because it was on the weekend, he got the promise that they're not going to kill him until he is going to show up on Monday, the first thing of the week. When he did, Chiro was already put to death. Reason he waited 40 years is, he said, he made a resolution to take a revenge for Chiro's murder. But before that, he wanted to enjoy just a touch of life because he knows life is only once. Around the age of 52 or so, he was involved in a car accident, and one of his leg was injured severely, and he was afraid that he could not make it if he was not in a hurry. So he rose to revenge at the age of 55. So far was the kind of a simple story. But now I like to move on to my analysis of this case. Why he made a decision to go so far as killing two top officials, vice ministers of Ministry of Health, and one wife of those two officials was severely injured too. Why did he need to go so far? His father was a very rigid person who stick with his own creed, and he didn't even take a day off for his grocery store business. And also he stood 365 days a year on the side of the road to make sure little kids can pass the street safely. So he was always out with this little yellow flag to stop the traffic. He did that in the morning and in the afternoon, all those times that the kids go to and from school. He was secretly respecting and admiring his father for being that diligent. But at the same time, he didn't receive his father's love he desperately needed. His father's love went to his business and those other little kids. So he was lonely, and his heart had a huge hollow. That hollow he filled in with making friends with animals. He still remembers at the age of 65 or so all the names of dogs he saw on his way to school. So when he picked up Chiro and asked his father to keep him as their family pet, and when the father okayed it, he was so happy. Chiro was not just a pet to those ordinary people like us. Chiro was the only source of love for Mr. Koizumi. So when Chiro was put to death by the official's betrayal, he made a resolution to take a revenge before his death. First he thought about killing the politicians, but always changes. So he decided to go for highest officials in charge of animal shelters. Why this kind of thing happened? As I have told you in another video, abuse causes serial murderous mind, and neglect causes mass murderous mind. Mr. Koizumi's case was clearly neglect, but the ironical thing was this neglect was caused by his father. This horror in his heart was made by his father, but seeing his father's back 24/7, 365 days a year for over 10 years, what filled in Mr. Koizumi's horror was his father's lifestyle with their strong, unshakable creed and to carry it out. So it was already planted in his mind. When he comes up with his life goal, he was ready to do the same thing as his father was doing. That's why he caused two murders and severely injured one of those two wives. In the news, he looked like he did that with the conviction that he did justice. I had to be monster to kill you guys, monsters. In John Wick's story, the puppy left by his loving wife, who passed away, was killed by this stupid son of some mafia family boss or whatever. He used to be a professional killer, but he retired. But when this only source of love that enabled him to live on was killed, he made a resolution that he would make revenge. All of that, like Punisher too, and Sons of Anarchy too, they are the stories about taking a revenge for having their precious families killed. And that's what happened to Mr. Koi. The values I would like to provide you here is family is supposed to be a place to prepare their children for their future independent lives. That's it. So the most important thing is two-way communications based on unconditional love. That's it. And in the end, accept what their kids really want to do. But as an international social pathologist, I have seen so many different cases in which within the family, incredible neglect and incredible abuse were happening. I heard those stories from U.S. prison. But one other thing I would like to tell you is animal welfare. I'm not talking about animal rights. It is that in every country, including Japan, we keep killing so many innocent lives of dogs and cats and especially alien species like raccoons. And what I would like to say is violence and discrimination confined to selected members of the society could easily change its target including human beings too, because you know why? That means the society carries aggression for such discrimination and violence. That is always looking for the safe target to release. And I may be going too far, but this is true. Black Lives Matter, Asian American hate crimes, hate to Muslims, and phobia to marches from Central America. See, the targets keep changing. Part of the main reason is we are approving using discrimination and violence in this human society. We are doing incredible atrocities to animals. They hide it where people cannot ordinarily see it, but that exists and people do know it. And if you really want to make this society peaceful, we have to make sure the weakest existence can live peacefully in a society. That can be little babies, or little girls, or elderly, or most typically animals who cannot say things. And when we can do that, everybody becomes safe, peaceful, and do understand what the true happiness is on this earth. I would like to close this session by mentioning this. Even white people, white ladies, and white gentlemen who supported Black Lives Matters and stuff, even they were attacked by police only for doing a peaceful demonstration. That's the good sign that aggression existing and approved in a society could go to anybody. Like Mr. Trump kept firing everybody since he took his office. This is a clear mechanism. So we have to resolve the origin of aggression to make this society safe. Okay? If you like this kind of story, please click my Dr. Samurai red logo that shows up the last 20 seconds. And I would keep uploading this kind of stories at least twice a week. You will get notified. Okay? Up until next time, please have a wonderful day.